Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Saturday and welcome to Bariatrics and Tips. I am Michelle Geeson. Happy Easter weekend, everyone. We are coming to you live today on Saturday so that everyone has time to enjoy the Easter holiday tomorrow with their friends and family. So welcome today. It's definitely a different kind of preparation. Usually I feel like we were just here together this past Sunday and the week just flew by. So I got everything ready. I've got an awesome menu lined up for you. I'm really pleased with it. You are gonna see some decadent dessert debauchery here today, that is for sure. So again, thanks so much for joining me today. I always look forward to this show quite a bit. And to those who are new joining, welcome. One thing that we have in common is that we have all either had weight loss surgery or we're gearing up to have weight loss surgery. And that's a huge common ground for us and a great way for us to exchange ideas and tricks and tips and recipes and food and just find ways to live large while cooking small and making sure that we're finding flavor in everything that we do. You know, just because we are given this bariatric tool doesn't mean that we have to feel deprived of eating well. Food is a huge part of our lives, whether we like it or not, and it's not going anywhere. We have to learn to coexist. And we just can find ways to do this, and it can be fun and it can be exciting. So remove the word deprived from your vocabulary, because there's no way you should have to roam this earth alive feeling deprived, okay? Life after bariatric surgery and even preparing for bariatric surgery shouldn't be spent wishing that we could have this or that. We can have fun with food. This is our second chance at life. This is our chance to live large, cook small, and find flavor. And I've dedicated myself to doing just that. And I know that I'm worth it, and I know that you're worth it too. So it's totally worth the time and the effort. Look at the kitchen and the grocery store as a playground of sorts and enjoy the time that you have in concocting ideas and experimenting and finding ways to slim things down, because it opens up a whole new world. And if this was a musical, this would be right around the time that I would launch into that Aladdin song, A Whole New World. So I'm not gonna keep singing because I will lose viewership. So, but I can hear it in my head, and it's a whole new world. So focus on this and let's have some fun today with some really incredible desserts. The first thing that I want to do, that we do every show, is focus on the spotlight. And I don't have anyone to seek out for spotlight today. I don't know if everyone was just so busy from getting ready for Easter that it just slipped everyone's mind. But I think I'm going to change up the spotlight a little bit, because I really want this to be a time for our members to celebrate accomplishments. And maybe it's just that people don't want to step up. Maybe they're bashful, maybe they're nervous or shy or even scared, and those are all viable emotions for sure. But I think what I'm going to do is each week I'm going to seek someone out and kind of have a drawing and see if I can ask someone to be part of the spotlight. And if you're asked to be part of the spotlight, you are going to win a free prize. I do have my Bariatrics and Tips logo magnets, and I'm happy to give those as a free gift for helping me help acknowledge your efforts, because we all need that. And I know that our page is dedicated to our recipes and our tricks and tips and our hacks and stuff, but we have to celebrate each other. And the spotlight is a way to do that. So be on the lookout for an email. I'm going to seek someone out. I'm going to see if I can get some dates on the calendar for people to commit, and we'll do some really great spotlights. And if you have any other ideas for the spotlight, if you want to see a different format, or if you want to change it up a little, I mean, I'm all for ideas and feedback, so please feel free. The last thing I want to ask is, I just put a survey poll on our Facebook page. there have been a lot of people that have been private messaging me regarding the Bariatrics and Tips logo t-shirt that I've been wearing from time to time, to see if those are available for sale. And I did talk to a friend of mine who prints shirts, and I can actually get those printed for $12 each, and then it would be a standard $5 to get those shipped out to you. Wanted to see if this was something people wanted, because I do have to meet a minimum printing requirement, and those would be prepaid. So look for that survey on Facebook and just give me your 2 cents. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not here to make money on those shirts. I just wanted to be able to spread my logo and afford you the ability to have a really nice Bariatrics and Tips logo t-shirt at a very reasonable price. So look for that as well. The things that you're going to see here, again, are my best practices and my favorite recipes. They may not work for everyone. You may not enjoy it as much as I do, or you may not enjoy it at all. It's completely up to you. And one of the things that I take pride in is respecting everyone's decision to do the research and do what they need and take what you need. So if you aren't a fave of these recipes, that's okay. But if it poses questions that you might have, always make certain that you are having a dialogue with your surgeon and or your dietitian, okay? Because we can all give advice and what works for us, but at the end of the day, we also need to find out what works for you as an individual, okay? So I just wanted to make sure that that was all kosher. So I've got 3 recipes that I want to do for you today. One of them I'm going to actually cook because it's only a 3-minute process on the stove. The first 2 things I'm going to show you, I've got my recipes right here. These recipes will be put on our group Facebook page starting at 3 and every hour. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. The menu, at 3 o'clock, you are going to get our first recipe. And now I'm trying to think of which one I had scheduled at 3 o'clock. I'm pretty sure it was the blistered grapes with honey and ricotta. This is a recipe that I learned from the Food Network channel, but I have slimmed it down considerably. And it's a great recipe. And in fact, I haven't even eaten lunch yet because my plan is to eat it after I make it for you guys. So it's a great meal. And for those of us that love ricotta cheese, it's just such a great treat. That's the first recipe. The second recipe we're going to do is chickpea cookie dough. Now this is cookie dough in the sense that it looks like cookie dough. We're treating it like cookie dough, but you are not going to bake this. This is meant for a decadent cold snack, almost like a dip, and you could even serve it to others or yourselves with pretzel sticks, graham crackers, if you choose to eat that. I like to eat it right out of the container, and it's just that good. But it's made with chickpeas. Because it's made with chickpeas, it's a little carb rich, but the good kind of carbs, because you're dealing with beans rather than anything else. And then finally, the last recipe of the day, sugar-free peanut butter Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are something that my family covets. We love them, and my mother-in-law makes them every single Christmas, and they're amazing. And they're, little tiny things, and you just pop them into your mouth, and it's so easy to eat 10 of them. And I started thinking to myself, how many do you think you eat at Christmas time? And this was like before weight loss surgery, because there's no way I could do it now. It would make my head spin from the sugar. But that's like the full fat version, all the peanut butter, the real chocolate, the Caro syrup, things of that nature. And so I started thinking of ways to slim it down, and you are going to be so pleased with the recipe that I have come up with. So those are the 3 things that are on deck for today. We're going to start off with the Buckeyes because that's easiest, and I've got most of it made, and I've got the final product to show you. But I wanted to review with you the recipe, and again, you'll have this posted. I don't remember the lineup. I honestly, truly don't. But starting at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, you'll see those on our group Facebook page. So the first thing that we're going to do with the Buckeyes, we want to make sure that we're working in a small and medium-sized bowl, and the consistency that we are trying to achieve is kind of like pizza dough. we want to be able to, or Play-Doh or something, we want to be able to mold it and roll it on the counter. And you know, when you're making pizza dough, or even when you're making sugar cookies for the holidays, you flour the surface of your countertop. You're going to do that, but you're going to do that with the peanut butter powder. So you do want to use it sparingly. You don't want to waste. And the first thing that you're going to do in a medium-sized bowl is you are going to combine a half a cup of peanut butter powder. I use the PB Fit, but there are a lot of brands out there, and I think the last time we had this discussion, there was PB2 and PB Fit that seemed to be the top brands. I know you can get one or both of those at Sam's Club, Costco, and Amazon. So a half a cup of PB Fit, 4 scoops of Gene Pro. Now, I use Gene Pro in a lot of my baking because it's low calorie, high protein, and it just further fortifies whatever I'm making with the protein. So if you don't have Gene Pro, you can definitely use unflavored protein powder, whey protein isolate in particular. And you would probably just use 2 scoops at that point. But please remember that the nutritional content I'm going to share with you includes everything that's in my actual recipe. But of course, feel free to shift things around as you see fit. So after the Gene Pro, we're going to do a tablespoon of the Splenda sugar blend. We're going to do half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of milk. And the milk, I was just talking to my cousin Melissa, hi Melissa, about the milk that I use, and I wanted to show you what I use and why. I actually use Fairlife, the whole milk. Well, first of all, Fairlife is a lot more, there's a lot more protein per serving, and I know I can opt for the skim milk, the 2%, or the whole. And the reason I choose the whole milk is because if I bought all these different kinds of milks, they'd probably all go bad and it wouldn't be cost effective, at least for my budget. But the reason I chose whole milk is because I kill a lot of birds with one stone. I use it as my coffee creamer. I toggle. Sometimes I use a protein shake. Sometimes I just want something nice and creamy. But if I'm using a splash here and a splash there, I'm not going to be very concerned about the fat content or the calories. It's not like I'm pouring myself an 8-ounce glass and having it. So, but I like to cook with it because you've got that creaminess of it and you've got that higher higher protein content too. So the recipes that I'm using today have the Fairlife whole milk in there. So I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of milk, and then I'm going to do 4 tablespoons of sugar-free chocolate chips. And I know we've had a group discussion about this too, and there are a lot of brands out there, which is totally fine. Use what you like and like what you use. That's my motto, or at least one of them. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a small piece of parchment paper, because after you dip those Buckeyes in chocolate, you need somewhere for them to sit. So you are going to combine those first 4 ingredients, the peanut butter fit, the Gene Pro, the Splenda, and the vanilla. You kind of want to mix the dry concoction together and then pour in your milk. I use a fork for this part because it's going to mix quickly. And it's going to take the consistency of dough or cookie dough, or, you know, you'll know what it looks like. And then you want to make sure you scoop everything and you want to mold it nicely and add some peanut butter powder just so that you have it where you can deal with it and it's not sticking to you. I like to roll mine in a log, and I want to get to where I've got 16 equal pieces. So often what I'll do is I'll roll it into a ball, and then I'll roll it into a log, and then I'll cut the log in half, and then I'll cut the halves in half, and then I'll cut the quarters in half until I get to 16 pieces that are relatively the same size. And then I'm going to roll them into little tiny balls. And then what you want to do is put them in like on a shallow plate or a shallow Tupperware or what have you, and throw those in the freezer for about an hour, or at least until you're done cleaning up your workspace. And then once you take them out, you just want them to set a little bit. They're just so much easier to deal with, kind of like how I put the mozzarella sticks in the freezer for an hour before I put them in the air fryer last week. Same kind of concept. And when you get those out, you're going to take a little, like a prep bowl, a microwave-proof prep bowl, and you're going to put your chocolate chips in there and put it in the microwave for a minute. After the minute is up, stir it a little bit, and it'll start to get smooth. These sugar-free chocolate chips melt fantastic. I was really worried about it, but they do a great job. And after that initial minute, you'll probably need to put it in for another 20 to 30 seconds. And when that's all said and done, you should have a velvety, smooth chocolate concoction. And slowly but surely just plunk those peanut butter balls into the chocolate concoction, and I take toothpicks and I spear each of them, and I kind of move it a little bit around the chocolate, and then when you lift them out of the chocolate and put them on the parchment paper, leave the toothpicks in, let it be for a little bit, and when you come back, you can take the toothpicks out and then just kind of like pinch the area where the hole was to close it up, and it'll be perfect. And they look wonderful. They probably need, I'd say, 10-20 minutes. Maybe you just leave them alone for a half an hour, and then you'll have these amazing Buckeyes, and I've got them here for you. Before I give you the actual show and tell, each Buckeye has about 67 calories, 2 grams of fat, 5 grams of carbs, and 11 grams of protein. So a nice thing to pop into your mouth, maybe even when you're preparing dinner, just so you don't go off the deep end. This and the cookie dough actually would be a fantastic snack before or after a workout, just because it's got good quality carbs and good quality protein in there too. But take a look. You can see the chocolate and the peanut butter. They are delicious, absolutely freaking delicious, and I'm very proud of this recipe, and you will have it shortly. So hopefully you like it. Yeah, this and this. All right, so we've got the peanut butter chocolate Buckeyes. One of those things that, like, whenever I see them, I think of Christmas, and I think of my mother-in-law, and I think of how many calories I'm eating. Don't have to do that again. Don't have to feel deprived. Totally nailed it. Drop the mic. All right, so now we'll move on to the chocolate chip cookie dough, the chickpea cookie dough. I know it sounds a little iffy, but when I was experimenting with this recipe, I made myself keep an open mind, because I like chickpeas and I like cookie dough, so why not like both at the same time? And again, we're not gonna bake these. We're just making cookie dough. So I want to show it to you. I'm going to show it to you first, and then we'll review the ingredients, and then I'm going to show you how I store it. Again, what works for me may not necessarily work for you, but I feel like it's a best practice. And again, I like to eat this before I go on a walk with the dog, or on a run, or even afterward. It's a good thing to have on hand so you don't, eat your arm off if you're in that I'm so hungry I can't see straight kind of phase. So here is my chickpea cookie dough. It looks amazing. It turned out great. And this is basically chickpeas and a few other fun ingredients that you will be very familiar with. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna open up a regular size can, not the big cans, but the regular slender size cans of chickpeas, and you want to rinse and drain them. And then just like how you lay out your cauliflower rice to deprive it of that moisture, you're going to do the same thing with the chickpeas, because you don't need them to be super wet. You are going to put everything either into your Ninja, your blender. In my case, I have a food processor. So what I'll do is once those chickpeas are nice and dry, put those into the Cuisinart. And then I added 2 scoops of Gene Pro, again, to further fortify it without adding too much calories. And then I added a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a heaping 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then a 1/2 cup of peanut butter powder. Again, I use the PB Fit, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar Splenda, and you can use, Splenda's just the brand name. There's lots of light brown sugar options for you. I just happen to prefer the Splenda brand. A tablespoon each of almond flour and milled flaxseed. Again, we're adding, that's gonna help thicken things and give you a little protein boost also. The filler ingredients is really the key, because a lot of times commercial products contain fillers that are carb rich and just wasted calories and things of that nature. all of our ingredients are very purposeful. They're gonna further fortify the protein count. They're gonna be low carb, things of that nature. And then we're gonna use a 1/4 cup of the milk of choice. And again, in this concoction, I have used Fairlife whole milk. And then we're gonna use 1/3 cup sugar-free chocolate chips, but those we're gonna keep off to the side. Everything else is gonna go into your blender or your Cuisinart, and you're gonna pulverize the pulp out of it until it resembles cookie dough. It's really that simple. We all know what cookie dough looks like, especially raw cookie dough. I am no stranger to that, let me tell you. And I'm sorry, I am seeing so many people say hi. Hi to everyone. Hi, Leslie. And so we're gonna add all those ingredients and pulverize it, and then you're gonna scoop everything out of the blender with your spatula into a smaller bowl, and that's when you're gonna fold in the sugar-free chocolate chips. And that's exactly what I did here. That's exactly what this is. And then what I do to make sure I've got the servings, this should ideally make 12 servings. So however you have to divide it up to make those 12 is fine. But what I like to do, I buy these from Amazon, these plastic disposable souffle cups and lids, and I get them in a variety of different sizes. I think I have 2 ounce, 4 ounce, and 5.5 ounces, depending on what I'm using them for. And then all I do is take my scoop, and I do spray it with cooking spray is my best practice, and I'm just gonna scoop, boom, in there, and that's how I'm gonna make my servings, and I will make 12 of those. And 12 of those is, each scoop is 124 calories, so this is an ideal snack. I always like to have my snacks anywhere from 150 calories less or lower than that. Ideally, I'd like to stay around 100, but 124, totally doable for me, especially if I'm walking the dog or going on a run. Or if I'm gonna eat this before I prepare dinner, 124 calories is a no-brainer compared to what I could be snacking on while I'm making that dinner. And that's, again, another best practice. So 124 calories, 5.4 grams of fat, 7.8 carbs, and a lot of those carb content is because of the garbanzo beans, and then 9.1 grams of protein. So it's a really, really nice, substantial snack. And then what I would do is I would just portion these all out and keep them in the refrigerator. And that way they're ready whenever I want, and I don't have to worry about portion size and getting out of control. Is that the 4 ounce container? Actually, Renee, I think these are the 5.5. I'm looking at the bottom. It says 5.5. And you can, if you're interested in getting these, the reason I do it is because, I mean, I'm working from home right now, so that's a non-issue, but in the event that I was going somewhere, I don't have to worry about having to bring it home and wash it. It's just something that I decide you can do exactly what works for you. But they often, if you're interested in these, just on Amazon, type in like disposable souffle cups and lids or something, and you'll get a million of them. I think the ones that I typically get come in sleeves of like 200. And they last quite a long time. Because again, these are just what I grabbed. I would probably use a lesser one just in the event, you know, for time and space. But this is what I pulled out of the cupboard today. So it's just nice to have on the go. Hopefully you like this recipe as much as I do. It's a really, really great snack and very decadent. And I love Decadent because, again, I'm not feeling deprived. The whole goal is to not feel deprived of anything. Can I have this? Can I have that? I can have whatever I choose. I am choosing not to. So there we go. I do see a request for someone to join the video, and I'm sorry I can't accommodate you at this time. I'm really, really sorry. The video camera is a little bit further away from me than I just can't do it. So I'm sorry, but we'll figure out a way to be more interactive as we go. The final recipe is this blistered grapes with honey and ricotta, and I saw this episode on Food Network a couple weeks back It's a Trisha Yearwood recipe, and I love Trisha Yearwood. I love her Food Network show, and I love her as a singer. And I was thinking, like, she had me at the word ricotta, just because the ricotta bake was my main go-to after my gastric bypass surgery, and I've had 2 surgeries since. And even without the surgeries, sometimes I just revert back to that. To me, that ricotta bake is comfort food. So anytime a recipe calls for ricotta, I'm on it. And so it really intrigued me, but she sometimes doesn't have the healthiest ingredient types in her cooking. Sometimes she does, and I've adapted quite a few recipes of hers, but this one I was on a mission to slim it down. And I do have it slimmed down to under 200 calories a serving. It's actually 187 calories for what I'm about to show you. It's 8.4 grams of fat. It's 20 grams of carbs. Now, I'll circle right back to that, and it's 9.3 grams of protein. But those carbs are a little high for my liking. And I had to figure out a way to justify it. And when I broke it down, the honey was the main culprit. The honey had about 6 grams of carbs. The chia seeds and the ricotta only about 3 grams each. And then the grapes, because the grapes had the majority of the carbs, also 7 grams of carbs. But they're the good carbs. They're not the crackers and bread type carbs. So they're the good carbs, and they're very easily justified. And when I broke it down into those bite-sized pieces, pun intended, I felt a lot better about that carb content, and I hope that you do too. But 187 calories for me is more like a super snack. It's a little bit higher than what I want, so I kind of treat it as almost like a lunch, and maybe offset it with a salad of some sort if I'm still craving something more. And so what we're gonna do, we've got a lot of different spices that we're gonna use. One of the spices I was actually, I had never used before. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we've got a small pan that we are gonna put a half a teaspoon each of ground cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom. Trisha Yearwood, when she demonstrated this recipe, she used freshly ground nutmeg, and I was at the store today and I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm all about doing fresh spices, but it just didn't seem like it was in the cards for me today, so I used my ample spice rack to furnish myself with the nutmeg. But the cardamom is something that's brand new, and I just recently purchased it. It's a real, it's in that clove and nutmeg family, and it does a nice job of like making it feel like comfort food to me. So a half a teaspoon of each of those. Trisha Yearwood's recipe called for olive oil, and I could have drizzled a little olive oil in there as well, but I opted not to because I think cooking spray does the job just as well, and I'd rather spend my calories elsewhere. So we're gonna heat the skillet over medium-high heat, and I've got the spices already in here, and we're just gonna toast it for a few seconds before we add the other good stuff. The other good stuff that we are going to add are the slivered almonds. Now, her recipe originally called for sliced almonds. They originally called for sliced almonds, but of course, Meyer didn't have sliced almonds because that would have been way too easy for me to follow a recipe. They had slivered almonds. So the moral of the story is, get whatever almonds you want. I think the reason the sliced ones would probably be more appealing to me is because the sliced ones probably look like there's more and could cover more surface area than the slivered almonds, and in turn that would probably make it look like more. But a half a tablespoon is a half a tablespoon no matter what. So I'm going to turn on the oven or stove, and I'm just gonna toast this up on the medium heat. I've got it on my number 5 dial. My dial goes up to 9, but really it goes up to 10. 10 would be the power boil setting. And I'm gonna toast it for a few seconds before I put my cooking spray in. The cooking spray is mostly for the chia seeds, which are in here, and the slivered almonds, a half a tablespoon of each. okay? So I'm going to let those get toasty, then I'm gonna add some cooking spray and my nuts and chia seeds, and then I'm gonna toast them up a little bit more. I do have my ricotta cheese already scooped out. This is a 1/4 cup. I just have it scooped in the middle of my plate. And what I did with the ricotta is I added a little bit of Splenda. That's purely optional. If you want something that's gonna taste more like a dessert or a treat, add Splenda by the 1/2 or full teaspoon until you get that desired sweetness that you want. I think I only put just a little under a teaspoon in there, and it tasted great. And with the cinnamon, it's gonna taste like a cinnamon Danish, which is also one of my favorites. If you're in the pureed phase and you're doing really well with your ricotta right now, add a little Splenda and add a little like cinnamon or pumpkin pie seasoning and mix it all together, and it is delicious. You can do that with cottage cheese too. It's lovely and delightful. So there you go, there's my piece. So I've got this nice and toasty, and now I'm gonna add a little bit of cooking spray. I don't want it to like powder everywhere. And I'm gonna put my chia seeds and slivered almonds in there, and I'm gonna cook these up just a little bit. And I'm gonna add some more cooking spray as well, because now we're gonna put the grapes in. And the blistered part of the grapes is the heat is gonna kind of make them explode a little, which is really nice. It gives it a nice look. And the recipe calls for red grapes. If you're adamant about using green, do what you gotta do, but green is gonna lose its color and it's not gonna be as pretty. So I'm gonna spray my grapes with the cooking spray, and then I'm gonna put those in, and now is where the magic begins. And I apologize that I hope my back isn't horribly to you, but I'm gonna stir these up nice, and really you're using the cooking spray, and in Trisha's recipe, the olive oil will fulfill the purpose too, to coat the grapes. And so they're looking really good. They haven't blistered yet, but it smells amazing. And again, this is just one serving. I was looking on my Fitness Pal, and they said about 30 grapes is considered a serving. And when I tried to measure out a 1/4 cup, this is probably maybe 1 or 2 grapes more than a 1/4 cup. And the other day when I made this recipe, I couldn't eat it all either. In fact, I ate so many grapes that I think I had like a mild case of dumping syndrome, because my pulse started really speeding up, and I got really dizzy and really sleepy, like pass out sleepy, and I know that that's a huge indicator for me. So, oh, and they're blistering nicely. So these are just about done. And again, this is a quickie. One of the reasons why I decided that I was going to demonstrate the whole thing. And now it becomes all about presentation, about how you want to serve this, and you can kind of see the smoke. I've got the chia seeds and the almonds nice and toasty. Hopefully you can see them. And the dog's coming running, so something must smell good. Lego. So now I'm just gonna, I want to just put everything, ideally, whoops, there we go. Ideally, I'd like my ricotta cheese to have some of these fun little seeds and nut topping. And it's looking fantastic. All right, I'm gonna put this pan in the sink, so you might hear it sizzle, and if you do, that is why. There we go. All right, okay. So there we go. Now we've got a beautiful, hopefully you can see that nice, ricotta. Oh, we need the honey. So a teaspoon, we just need enough to drizzle. That saved me, okay. Renee had said something. What saved you too, Renee? I think I'm probably looking at that too late. But when we're dealing with the honey, you could technically just drizzle some on top and probably be done with it, especially if it's not your first rodeo and you probably know how much to portion. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just gonna spray my 1 teaspoon with some cooking spray. That way I get all of the honey. And now I'm gonna do the drizzle. Oh my gosh, it looks so freaking good. So is it a bad thing if I eat the spoon? Can I do it? Yum. Love honey. I do. Honey, honey. So at any rate, we've got this delicious Decadent treat that is protein rich, and it looks amazing. Hopefully you see it. But now this is my lunch. It is so delicious. It is absolutely delightful, and one of my new favorite, absolute favorite treats to make. So thank you, Trisha Yearwood. And those are the three. It was really hard trying to figure out what to cook for you guys today because I have so many great desserts. One of the things that's on the horizon is I have a cheesecake recipe, a chocolate cheesecake recipe that I'm in the process of perfecting. I didn't have it ready for today, otherwise I would have done that as well. But that'll be up and coming, and I think I'll devote that to an actual next Facebook Live recipe demonstration because that one is worth it. I think a lot of us like cheesecake. So that's what I have for you today. Again, they're gonna be posted starting at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. On deck next week, next Sunday, on our regularly scheduled day, which is next Sunday, we have burgers and fries. More so fries than burgers, but I'm going to show you a really great burger recipe that I have. The week after that, we're going to do Veggie Patch Hacks. On April 25th, we're going to do Wonton Wrapper Wacko, which is one of my favorite things to make. And then on May 2nd, to start off May, we're going to do My Plate versus Your Plate. And this is an idea my husband gave me, which is a hoot and a half. There have been times where I've made his dinner and then I make my dinner, and mine is just a slimmed down mini version of his, and so we're gonna face off. He's not gonna be on the video. I can't get him to do that, but I'm gonna make his meal and then I'm gonna make my meal. I'm gonna show you the difference, and it's gonna be amazing. Okay, so we've got that to look forward to. As always, make sure that you're seeing us on social media. We've got my YouTube channel, which is what this will be posted on after, and I'll repost on Facebook. So we've got Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it. That way you never miss a single solitary thing. I told you about the recipes. I hope that everyone has a really happy, healthy, safe Easter tomorrow. Remember, it's not about the candy, and it's not about the yams, and it's not about overeating until you're what I call Thanksgiving full. It's about being with your friends and family. It's about not feeling deprived. It's about living large, cooking and eating small, about finding flavor in all you do, and about being healthy and strong. And that's what this journey is all about. So thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you have a great rest of your Saturday and a fantastic Easter Sunday. And I will see you on Facebook and next Sunday for burgers and fries, okay? See you later. Happy Easter. Bye.